Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to another One Punch Man LSSR review video. So today I'll be going over the legendary monster martial artist Gouketsu. But before we begin, I have some great news. I recently was approved by YouTube for the partner program, thanks to all the support you guys have given me, and now I'm actually able to earn some revenue through advertisement. There's also a join button now if you guys would like to support my channel even further by becoming a member, although this is completely optional. These character reviews and guides that I make take quite a bit of time and effort, so by supporting this channel, you allow me to continue and produce quality content for you guys. And who knows, maybe someday with enough support, I might be able to do this YouTube thing full time. Alright, enough of the sales pitch, let's begin. Okay, let's start off with the pros and cons. Starting off with the pros. He is one of the highest AoE damage dealers in the game as of right now. 180% of his attack for his base damage is no joke, and this isn't even his ultra ultimate. Compared to other characters that have AoE ults like Terrible Tornado, Tatsumaki, Atomic Samurai, and even Garou, their base damage is only 100% of their attack, so that's quite a significant difference. For this reason, he'll serve as the main AoE damage dealer that will dominate monster/villain side PvP. And he will be used in villain side or monster side PvP for a very long time because of this. He's also a very versatile unit. He can serve as a main damage dealer, a main tank, and even a utility support. And because of this, he's both useful in PvP and PvE, although not so much for PvE bossing. He's rather used in the PvE stages that need AoE damage or a main tank. And last, he has extreme longevity. He is absolutely busted during the current Zombie Man meta. If you pair him with Garou, he is able to completely one-turn kill an entire enemy team. And he's also strong during Giro meta, especially when paired up with Tank Top Master. He'll pretty much serve as the main tank during the Giro era. And he's even viable during Bomb Court thanks to his utility support from his passive. Okay, next let's talk about his cons. Unfortunately, he's another grappler you have to build, and at this point I know everyone is low on grappler resources, including myself. And to make things worse, he shares the same resources as Carnage Kabuto. So I'd advise, unless you are a large spender in the game, for everyone else, you should pick either Gouketsu or CK rather than trying to build up both at the same time. Next, there are alternative options available for both an AoE damage dealer and a main tank. For the AoE main damage dealers, you have Terrible Tornado, Garou, and even Golden Ball if you're lacking a strong AoE damage dealer like me. And eventually, when SSR Genos comes out, he'll basically be a stronger AoE damage dealer compared to Gouketsu. As for the main tank option, you obviously have Carnage Kabuto, who is essentially just a slightly worse version of Gouketsu, along with Tank Top Master and Super Alloy Darkshine. And of course, he's also countered by crit rate, because crit nullifies his passive, which we'll go into later. And this is also why a SSR Genos with high crit can completely crack and destroy a Gouketsu. And last, but definitely not least, he has terrible, absolutely terrible banner timing. His banner is very close to Giro, SSR Genos, and Red Mosquito Girl, all three of which are very, very strong LSSRs. Phoenix Man is technically supposed to be the next LSSR banner if we follow the Southeast Asia timeline. However, Giro is probably going to be the next banner since Moonton. I don't think I need to give any more description on that. And Red Mosquito Girl might even be the banner after that. So unfortunately, this puts Gouketsu in a very, very tough and unfortunate spot. Next, we are going to go over his skills, starting off with his basic attack. He attacks a single target and deals damage equal to 120% of his attack, has a 100% chance to inflict internal injury on the target. When attacked takes internal injury damage by 100% of Gouketsu's attack effect, of course, will disappear once it's triggered. You almost never want to be using Gouketsu's basic attack. However, if you somehow got energy sealed during the fight, this could serve to generate 2 energy when you're using the Zombie Man core. Next, we go into his ultimate. He attacks all enemies with 3 consecutive strikes and deals damage by 180% of his attack. Once again, this is a very high base attack percentage compared to the current AoE damage dealers we have. And of course, he heals himself by 20% of his max HP, very similar to CK's ultimate. And for his Ultra Ultimate, unfortunately I don't have a picture because I never owned Gouketsu on the Southeast Asia version of the game. But in order to acquire his Ultra Ultimate, he requires 3-star Keepsake as usual. And his Ultra Ultimate will give him 210% of his attack as the base damage for his AoE, and 30% max HP heal instead of 20%. So overall he gets a 30% attack boost, although this is hitting 6 targets or 6 different units because it's an AoE, so you have to consider that. It's actually quite a large increase. And a 10% increase to his maximum HP heal. I would say his Ultra Ultimate is really nice to have. It's quite a huge damage increase, but it's definitely not needed. Without his Ultra Ultimate, Gouketsu is still going to be dealing a lot of damage as well as healing himself for a good amount. So this is more of something extra that the spenders can spend their money on, or those who main Gouketsu can invest into as well. Okay, moving on. Alright, next let's dive into his passive. It grants him 30% non-crit damage free, effective for all types, cannot coexist with agility. Agility is basically Bomb's passive. You guys don't have to worry about that for quite a bit, so we're not going to go into that. And when the battle begins, very similar to Sky King and Alloy's ult, so I'm assuming Gouketsu does not need to be alive for the second part of the passive to work. It increases 70% heal rate and shield rate for himself and surrounding allies for 2 rounds. And I believe this means that it's going to be in a T-shaped formation, very similar to Alloy's ult and Mosquito Girl's ultimate. So therefore you want to place Gouketsu in the middle, either in the front of the lineup or in the back line, so he hits the most units with his passive. Next, let's go into his extreme passive, which once again I don't have a picture of because I don't own him on the Southeast Asia version of the game. However, I managed to snap a picture of his Uber Ultimate just because I have the rune. For some reason, in Live Clash, I managed to pull it. So we have the picture for the Uber passive, but not the extreme passive. And for his extreme passive, he requires 5-star limit break as usual. And his extreme passive will provide him with 35% non-crit damage free and 80% heal rate and shield rate for the first 2 rounds. And for his Uber passive, this will require you to get him to Awaken 5 or Purple 5, which we now have on the global version. It was just introduced today, or yesterday by the time this video is released. And of course 3-star Keepsake to unlock it. And then for his Uber passive, it grants him 38% non-crit damage free and increases his heal rate and shield rate to 90%. However, for 3 rounds instead of 2 rounds. So it's quite a large difference for the second portion of his Uber passive. All in all, I believe that you don't need to rush for his extreme passive. It is just a 5% non-crit damage free, and the 10% heal rate and shield rate for the first 2 rounds is nice, but definitely not something you need to rush to get as soon as possible. Same with his Purple 5 or his Awaken 5 passive, his Uber passive. It's nice to have the extra round of 90% heal rate and shield rate, but the amount of investment you need for Purple 5 or Awaken 5 is quite a lot, so definitely not for those who are not spending in the game. It's more so of something that the Gouketsu mains and spenders can slowly move towards when they have the extra resources and time. Alright, next let's go over his build. For his gears, you want either Night Set or Suit Set. If you're going for Night Set, you obviously want to gear him with attack gear, and for Suit Set, you're probably going to be running him as a main tank, so you want HP gear. Although it is viable to build a Night Set with HP gear, you would have to go HP crit rate with other HP main stat gears. This will do significantly less damage compared to an attack Night Set gear. However, I've seen it work and it's definitely viable. So for the traditional route, when you're running Night Set, you'd want attack main stat with crit rate on the chest piece, and 2 attack percent pieces along with 1 attack speed piece. And for the tank build that uses Suit Set, you'd want HP percent, either times 3 with 1 HP speed gear, or all 4 pieces being HP percent. Next, let's go over his talent sigils. For his damage sigils, you want either Sharp Sword or Piercing. And for Sharp Sword, you'll get flat attack, flat HP, and attack percent at the later levels. For Piercing, you'll decrease block rate, get flat attack percent, and ult damage bonus at the later levels. For support sigils, you want Bastion, which is the preferred sigil, Vitality, or Chaos. For Bastion, you'll reduce the crit rate chance, which pairs really well with his passive. Flat HP and ult damage free at the later levels. Vitality, of course, you'll get flat attack, flat HP, and HP percent at the later levels. Chaos will provide you with ultimate damage reduction, flat defense, and block percentage at the later levels. Alright, next let's go into a discussion that a lot of people are interested in, which is Garou versus Gouketsu. And honestly, on paper, they're about the same power level. You can't really go wrong with either one. So as a result, I'm just going to go over the pros of both of these characters. Starting off with Garou. Obviously, he's a hero hunter. He completely will dominate hero side PvP for the next upcoming months. And he serves as an AoE sub DPS with his ultimate providing internal injury, as well as follow-up damage that also provides internal injury. And when he's finally 5-star limit broken, he can even serve as a main DPS just due to the fact that he'll be doing so much damage with his follow-up attacks. As for Gouketsu, he's the legendary monster that will dominate monster side PvP for the longest time as well. And he'll be serving as the main AoE DPS or the main tank for your monster side PvP. And the utility provided from his passive allows for long-term use. In conclusion, for those of you who are willing to spend, I recommend that you build both of them as they pair really well together in the Zombie Man core. Although for those who have Carnage Kabuto built already, you have the option of just skipping Gouketsu and rather investing everything into Garou as the preferred option. And for those of you who don't have Carnage Kabuto well trained or you don't own him, then Gouketsu will definitely provide you with long-term value. Alright, and to sum things up, Gouketsu is a very strong unit. I would highly recommend spenders to pull for him, especially if you have enough black tickets or are willing to spend your money to buy the black ticket packs. For F2P, definitely skip Gouketsu. The only time I would ever recommend free-to-play to pull for Gouketsu is if you already have Zombie Man and you have over 360 black tickets right now, which means you have enough to pity both Gouketsu and Garo if he comes out as the next LSSR. Not a lot of free-to-play players will fit in this category. Pretty much unless you've been saving black tickets all the way from day one, and if you got very lucky on the Zombie Man banner. That's pretty much the only way you'd fit into this particular category of free-to-play. Also, I recommend you guys skip as well if your Carnage Kabuto is already well built, like I mentioned before. I'd say if you have a 5-star Carnage Kabuto, then definitely Gouketsu is skippable. And he provides overall long-term value, especially on monster side PvP. He will serve as the main AoE damage dealer for monster side PvP for the longest time, as I mentioned before. He also only requires moderate investment. You don't need to go full ham on Gouketsu in order to make him work. You can just limit break him to 4-star for right now. As I mentioned before, his extreme passive is something nice to have, but not necessary. In fact, I would rather you guys rush someone else like Garou to 5-star first, as when Garou gets to 5-star, he becomes an absolute monster, thanks to his extreme passive. And his 3-star keepsake is optional, but it's nice to have for Gouketsu mains. The extra AoE damage and healing provided on his Ultra Ultimate will definitely make a difference on high-end PvP, so if you're a Gouketsu main or if you're a large spender, then getting his keepsake is a pretty good investment. And last, he pairs well with Tank Top Master, Zombie Man, and Garo due to his passive boosting heal rate and shield rate. And this, of course, makes him a very flexible and useful unit. Alright guys, well that's going to be it for this One Punch Man video. As usual, if you have any questions or if you have anything to add, please leave them in the comments below. And please make sure to like, sub, or join this channel and become a member if you would like to support me even further. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next One Punch Man video. Peace!